February 2022, the world watched as Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. What many expected to be a quick war became one of the biggest conflicts in Europe since World War II. Ukraine sits between Russia and Europe. To the east is Russia. To the north is Belarus. To the west are NATO countries like Poland and Romania. This location made Ukraine extremely important. The conflict did not start in 2022. In 2014, Russia took Crimea from Ukraine. At the same time, fighting began in eastern Ukraine, especially in Donetsk and Luhansk. This eastern region is called the Donbas. For years before the full invasion, Ukrainian forces and Russian-backed separatists fought here. Then, on February 24, 2022, Russia launched a much larger invasion. Russian forces attacked from three main directions: the north, the east, and the south. One of Russia's biggest goals was Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. If Kyiv fell, Ukraine's government could collapse quickly, but Kyiv did not fall. Ukrainian forces resisted strongly. Russian supply lines became stretched, and the attack slowed down. By spring 2022, Russia withdrew from northern Ukraine. This was the first major turning point of the war. After failing to take Kyiv, Russia shifted its focus back to eastern Ukraine. The war became slower, heavier, and more destructive. In the south, the city of Mariupol became one of the most devastated places in the war. After a brutal siege, Russia captured it. This gave Russia a land bridge connecting mainland Russia to Crimea. That became one of its most important gains. As the war continued, Ukraine received weapons, money, and support from the United States and European countries. In summer 2022, Russia pushed hard in the Donbas. Cities like Severodonetsk and Lysychansk saw intense fighting before falling. Then Ukraine surprised Russia. In September 2022, Ukrainian forces launched a fast counteroffensive in the Kharkiv region and took back large areas. Russian positions collapsed quickly in some places. Ukraine regained important towns and supply routes. Ukraine also pushed in the south. By November 2022, Russia withdrew from the city of Kherson. After that, the Dnipro River became a major front line between the two sides. During winter, Russia attacked Ukraine's power grid with missiles and drones, targeting energy systems and civilians. The next major battle became Bakhmut. It turned into months of brutal fighting with heavy losses on both sides. Russia eventually captured Bakhmut in 2023, but at a very high cost. In summer 2023, Ukraine launched a counteroffensive in the south, aiming to break the land bridge to Crimea. But Russia had built strong defenses with trenches, mines, and artillery. Ukraine advanced slowly. By late 2023, the war became a war of attrition. Both sides were trying to wear each other down over time. Drones became one of the most important weapons, used for attacks, surveillance, and long-range strikes. In 2024, Russia regained momentum in parts of eastern Ukraine and pushed forward slowly. Avdiivka became another major battle. Russia captured it after months of pressure. Russia also increased pressure near Kharkiv, forcing Ukraine to defend more areas. Despite this, Ukraine continued to hold its major cities, including Kyiv and Odessa. The war also expanded into the Black Sea. Ukraine targeted Russian ships and bases around Crimea. Crimea remained one of Russia's most important military positions, but Ukraine continued to strike it. By 2025, the war had become long and exhausting, with no clear winner. Russia continued to gain small amounts of territory in the east, but at a high cost. Ukraine increasingly attacked targets inside Russia, including oil facilities and air bases. Both sides targeted energy systems, turning the conflict into an energy war as well. There were talks and prisoner exchanges, but no final peace agreement. By 2026, the war was still ongoing. Russia continued to push in the east, while Ukraine defended and launched strikes behind Russian lines. The main fighting remained in eastern and southern Ukraine, especially in Donetsk. Russia's strategy became clear: apply constant pressure and slowly take more land. Ukraine's strategy focused on defense, destroying Russian equipment and striking key targets. Drones became central to the war, used by both sides for attacks across long distances. For civilians, the war meant destruction, displacement, and constant danger. The conflict also affected the entire world, influencing energy, food, and global politics. NATO countries increased support for Ukraine and strengthened their defenses. The war continues because both sides want its different outcomes. Russia wants to keep control over occupied regions. Russia still controls Crimea and parts of eastern and southern Ukraine. Crimea remains important. For military control of the Black Sea, the Donbass remains the center of heavy fighting. Southern Ukraine remains critical because it connects Russia to Crimea. This war is not only about land, it is also about resources, power, and time. The human cost has been enormous, with many lives lost and cities destroyed. There is still no simple ending. A peace deal would require major compromises from both sides. So the situation today is simple. Russia continues attacking, Ukraine continues defending, and the war continues. The biggest turning points were Crimea in 2014, the invasion in 2022, Ukraine's counteroffensives, and the rise of drone warfare. Today, Ukraine remains divided by war, with large areas still under Russian control. What began as a fast invasion became a long and complex conflict that reshaped Europe. And as of now, the war is still not over. If you want more simple documentary breakdowns like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and watch the next video.